my quilting friends, my name is Leah Day, and in this video I am creating this pillow cover. So this is a cover that I have just slotted in one of my couch pillows, and I have made this entirely using quilted fabric that I did many years ago. This was just practice fabric that I stitched on Minky, and I want to show you how you can cut up those practice sandwiches and create something fun with it. So join me as we use a Janome 8200 and stitch this cool pillow cover together. Okay, to start this project, we need to do a little bit of cutting, and I have cut my big square 20.5 inches. And you know, this is something to plan out in advance. If you are practicing quilting and you know you want to make pillows out of your practice stuff, make sure that you are working with big enough pieces of fabric that you can cut the sizes that you want. And I know a 20-inch pillow, that doesn't seem like very big, but when you actually are cutting it, it's pretty huge. And I was actually struggling to have a piece big enough that I had quilted. So keep that in mind. Maybe work with a full yard whenever you're doing a practice sandwich and doing your practice quilting, so that way you know that you have enough space to be able to cut something pretty out of it. All right, now the back, this is the confusing thing, and I swear, I often have to sit there and think about this a little bit and really get my brain in gear. The back of a pillow, and I'm just gonna line these up here, we want the back to overlap. And we want that overlap to be at least 4 inches, so that way the pillow doesn't, you know, come out through that opening, right? So I cut these back panels 13.5 by 20.5. So that's the size. Now I'm going to finish this edge, just one inside edge. I folded it over and stitched it about 1/2 inch over, and then folded it over again and stitched it. So that takes this piece down to about 12 by 20.5. That's about the size it is now. So let's go on ahead and stitch this one together so you can see how that works. Now I'm working with Minky, and this can be just a little bit tricky. So I'm going to start out with this foot. This is just my normal patchwork foot that I like on my Janome 8200. But if I find that this doesn't work all that well, I might have to switch to the walking foot. I don't know. I'm just going to have to play this by ear. But I want to run one line of stitching about 1/4 inch from this edge to start with. And I'm actually going to use the start stop button here, and as you can see, this isn't moving all that well, so I'm going to up my stitch length. Why is it not moving all that well? You might be wondering. Well, Minky likes to grip. It's a polyester high pile fluffy fabric, and it really likes to grip your machine bed. I would probably be having a lot of an easier time doing this if I had flipped it over and put the cotton on the bottom. I wasn't really thinking, I was talking. So, so it's going a little slow, and right now my stitch length is 3.5, and I know that that's not actually what's coming out on this piece. So keep that in mind whenever you're working with Minky. Whenever I'm walking foot quilting it, I always have to bump up my stitch length by usually a full number. So I normally would quilt at 1.5 millimeters. I usually bump it up to 2.5 or 3.5 just simply because it likes to grip so much. All right, let's hit the start button and also the thread cutter. So what that did, just that line of stitching, was really nice for stabilizing that edge. That's going to make it that much easier to fold over. It also gives me something to stitch along for the next line. All right, I don't particularly like this foot for this job, so I'm going to go ahead and switch it out. And I think I'm going to switch to the integrated walking foot. It's called the integrated dual feed. I got it right here. And this is something that comes with this machine. It's really handy, and it makes attaching this so much easier. So first thing I do is loosen my screw, get it into position, and then I want to make sure to also, there's a silver piece back here. I want to make sure that I'm hooking that in too. That actually is what works that dual feed. So I'm going to tighten this up with just finger tight, and then use my screwdriver, making sure it's nice and tight. Now, I have a different base here on this, and you can switch out these bases really easy. You can just pull on them and switch out and get a new base. You can lift that foot extra high too. And so I can switch out. This is a stitch in the ditch base. So I want to go and run and get a different base that doesn't have that bar through the center. So here's the base I'm planning on using. This is just the standard one that comes with the machine. You can also get a piecing foot for it. Not my favorite, simply because it's kind of hard to see and it's really, really big. I prefer a different foot for piecing on this machine, but I just wanted you to see, yes, there is a foot with a 1/4 inch piecing guide if you wanted to go that route as well. But I think this one's going to work well. You can see these little clips here. That's where I'm going to hook this in. And it kind of snaps in just like so. Now you want to make sure that you get it right. I think I need to drop my foot down to get it out of the way of the needle. There we go. And that's right. So I have a different foot on, basically a walking foot. Let's think of it that way. I'm going to fold over this minky about a 1/2 inch, drop my foot down, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just using that start button. Got to get it started, and automatically I can see that I am moving a lot faster. So for this line of stitching, that's okay. For the next line of stitching, I'm probably going to lower that stitch length, because really this line of stitching, this is just to hold that over, just to help me with that first fold. And you know, you could stop here if you wanted to. You don't necessarily have to fold it over one more time, but I really like to, just simply because this is minky. I don't want wear and tear on the pillow to cause this to continue to fray. And my pillows in my house for some reason get a lot of abuse. So I've always got to keep that in mind. And there we go. That is that line of stitching. And the wonderful thing about minky is your stitches just sink right down into it. You're not going to see it. So I want to go ahead and lower my stitch length for this next line, just so I'm sure that this is going to look good. It's going to secure this stitching, and it's all going to work out great. I also want to grab a scrap charger. What this is just a folded piece of fabric. I'm going to buzz through that first, stitch through it, and have one stitch off. Stop there. What this does is it gets my machine in stitching mode, so that as I stitch onto this is pretty thick, this is pretty dense. I have something I can reach back and kind of grip and pull to keep the fabric moving smoothly through the machine. That's part of it. But then also I know that machines in stitching mode, it's going to be a lot less likely to gag with these first few stitches. So here we go. A few stitches on. I hit the stop start button and then hit the reverse button, holding it down. Just do a few stitches in reverse. And you can see I'm just folding this over, and I'm just eyeballing this, guys. It does not have to be perfect, but I just want it to generally be folded over consistently, the same consistent amount all the way down. And I just press that with my fingertips. And wow, I love that dual feed. You know, your walking foot would work the same way. This is essentially the walking foot for this machine, and it comes with the machine. So it's not something extra that you have to buy. And it just feeds so nicely. I mean, this is super thick, minky, backing fabric, folded over not once but twice, and it's handling it just fine. And right now I just wanted to let you know my stitch length is 2.4 millimeters. So that's my stitch length, and it's actually pretty accurate, I would say. So coming up here on the end, I can slow down using my speed slider a little bit, hit that stop start button, hold on to that reverse button, do a few stitches here. I went way off the edge, so I want to do a few stitches here, backing it up, go back forward, and hit my, then hit my thread cutter button. It's a little bit tricky learning how to use the stop start button, I will be honest, guys. With that stitching complete, it's time to put our pillow together. And this also requires just a little bit of thinking about the side that I want to be on top and overlapping, and I like this one a little bit better than this one. I want to make sure that that is on top. So I'll just go ahead and overlap it like this, right side up, and then flip it. And then I'm sure it's going to be correct once this is turned right side out. It can be one of those things that we can overthink a little bit and then get completely wrong. So I just do it that way. I think that works well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just line this up so that this piece is lined up with 3 sides of that pillow front, making sure that the pillow front looks good, and it does. And just for ease, I think it would probably be the easiest to just only work with 2 pieces at a time. So I'm going to go ahead and start stitching here, back stitch, stitch all the way down and around, and then I'll layer on this one and do the same thing. I'll begin stitching here, stitch down, around, and end right here. And that way I have fewer pieces on the machine, a little bit less of a headache. Let's give that a try. Now this is a situation you might want to use that extra high setting for your foot. Just yank it all the way up to the top, and then you can get all those layers down in there and nicely situated. Now I did leave myself only a 1/4 inch seam allowance with this. I'm thinking that probably I should have had a little bit more of a seam allowance now that I'm actually got it on the machine. So yeah, I'm learning as I go, and that's okay. I'm going to just eyeball and try and keep that edge lined up with that slot on my foot, and I think that's going to work. So I'm going to hit start. Now I'm going to hit that backup button, and I'm going to back up off the edge of that top piece, and now I'm just letting the machine do the feeding. All my job is just to keep these 2 layers in nice alignment all the way to the corner. That's it. And it's just slow and steady wins the race. I might be able to speed up on my speed slider just a little bit, and that's just a slider on the front of the machine. When you're using the start stop button, that slider is what comes in handy for deciding how fast you're going to go. Now coming up on this corner, and I do want to slow down just simply so I have good control. As I turn this corner, I'm going to come right up to it, and then I'm going to hit the start stop button so that way I can pivot and turn this around. So I'm coming up on it, and let's go right there. And I actually might want to reinforce this. Take just a few stitches backwards, a few stitches forwards, one more, there we go. And then now I can lift the foot, turn it, and we'll be on our straightaway. So that is how I'm going to stitch this on. Careful stitching, and yes, I think it's a-okay to use your start and stop button. It might take a little bit of practice, but I really like stitching standing up. I'm finding this, it's just working really well for me, for my back. I find that I'm a little bit more efficient with it, and especially with a big project like this where, you know, I'm needing the table. I just find that really is working well. So you just gotta get more experience. The more projects that you stitch, the better you'll be at it. So there we go. I've got my pillow cover stitched. I did find that this edge, for some reason, slipped outward. I think probably because there's minky on both sides. Maybe I didn't cut it accurately. Who knows? But it ended up working out fine. I did do an extra line of stitching all the way around just to reinforce it. Now, if you wanted to box your corners, if you had a particularly thick pillow, you could take them, so here it is flat. You would just take the corner and fold it this way, lining up that seam line so it's stacked. You got the seam line there, you got the seam line there, stacked, and then you could stitch across it, perpendicular to that seam, and that would end up boxing your corners. That's pretty interesting, kind of a fun extra element that you could do, but not something I needed to do for this particular pillow. So I'm going to turn this right side out and take a minute to just push on these corners, making sure that I get the full expression of my pillow cover. There we go, and just like I wanted, this side did end up overlapping that side just exactly right. Now let's see if it actually fits the pillow that I designed it for. I'm going to slip this in on this side first, and then grab that inside edge and shove it down into it. And I just really wanted something quick and easy that I could overlap my existing pillows with a cover and, you know, maybe change it out for the seasons. This will be perfect for Christmas. So I hope that you enjoy learning how to create a simple pillow cover. This is a great way to use up your quilted fabric, your practice sandwiches. Definitely give this a try and enjoy stitching on your Janome 8200. If you'd like to learn more about the machine I used in this video, come and check it out at leahday.com/8200. Until next time, let's go sew!